Hi, welcome to the latest video in the series on Irish place names and administrative divisions. Today we're going to be talking about a very strange beast altogether, the Poor Law Union. Um, why is a Poor Law Union relevant? Okay, it's a long story. Let me go to the site and show you a map of poor law unions and talk you through how they came into existence and why they're important. Right, here we are at the site, into places and into the Poor Law Union maps. Now, the first thing you'll notice about this is that this is not a map of the counties of Ireland. These are completely different to counties. They don't cover the same areas at all. And in fact, if you zoom in, um, you'll see underneath them there are county boundaries. So, I mean, this one here, for example, Eden-Derry, covers parts of 3 counties. So that's the first thing. Okay, why are we looking at these at all? Because they are the divisions used to record births, marriages, and deaths by the Irish state. How in the name of God did that happen? Let me take you through it. Back in the 1830s, poverty in Ireland was a big issue in the United Kingdom Parliament, and Ireland was part of the United Kingdom then. The poor law existed across the water in England. It didn't exist here for the simple reason that nobody thought that there were so many poor people they couldn't afford it. And eventually, in the late 1830s, a poor law was set up. The idea was there would be a workhouse to take the most destitute at the centre of a union, a geographical area. Okay, so that's what these things are. The names given to them, you can see them, Mullingar, Castlereagh, Claremorris. These are the names of large, significant market towns at the centre of each poor law union. Okay, how were the areas decided? The areas were decided by how much property could produce enough tax to fund the poor law, to fund the workhouse, to pay for the staff in the workhouse, to pay for the horrible food they were going to be giving to the poor paupers. Um, Property was the only method of taxing, of raising taxation at all. So these areas were designed to produce enough taxation to support the poor law, the workhouse and the poor law in operation in the area. Okay. What has this got to do with connecting births, marriages, and deaths? The poor was set up just in time to be completely overwhelmed by the famine in the mid 1840s, the Great Famine. But it was part of the Victorian health system, and it was subdivided into dispensary districts. Each of the poor law unions had anything between 3 and 7 or 8 dispensary districts, most of them headed by a local public health doctor. So this was Victorian health emerging slowly into the modern era. Um, when they came to set up registration of births, marriages, and deaths, various proposals were put in place. One, to use the Church of Ireland parishes as the basis, and you can imagine that didn't go down well with the Catholic clergy at all. So eventually, they settled on the health system, and they settled on the poor law unions as the large areas that would register births, marriages, and deaths, collect births, marriages, and deaths, and these dispensary districts as the local areas that would do the actual on the ground collection. Okay, let me show you what happens when you go in here. When you pick, say, the Poor Law Union of Tullamore, what you get is this. This is a map of the dispensary districts, or which now also came to be known as local registrars districts. And these are the areas, there was one registration office in each of these areas, and they collected all the births, marriages, and deaths, and they funneled them from the registrars, local registrars, to the superintendent registrar who was in charge of all of these areas, these 5 registrars districts. Those records were then copied. A copy was sent to the central office in Dublin, and they were indexed there. And those indexed records, they're the ones that you'll find on irishgenealogy.ie. They're the ones that you'll find on in the Mormon website and familysearch.org. They're not the records you'll find in the local heritage centres transcripts because they transcribe the registrar's districts, which are still held locally. Okay, So poor law unions are still in use today as the overall registration districts for collecting Irish births, deaths, and marriages. To be honest, I find that mind-boggling that these things were detested. These workhouse machines for basically mincing the poor are still rooted deep in our administrative system in Ireland. Well, I hope I've given you a sense of how they work and how you can once you realize when you're looking at an index and you see a name that it's the big one, it's Tullamore that you're looking at. So you there's lots more detail to go into. One of the things about the poor law unions um, is on the site is that you get a list of all the places. You can also go in to the registrar's district. You get the place. You can zoom in here. You can click on a place name. You can go from the place name to either the Griffiths, the births, marriages, and deaths, or the 1901, 1911 census returns. So, since we're talking about births, marriages, and deaths, let me show you this. This is irishgenealogy.ie, the greatest thing since sliced bread. And there we go. And they're all of the births, deaths, marriages in Tullamore. And you can see there's a lot of them, 83,000. So it's this is they're big area. It's not possible on this site to break them down further. On Roots Ireland, the local heritage centre site, it is, but they haven't covered everything. So swings and roundabouts. Anyway, I hope I've given you a sense of why poor law unions are important and how you can use them and how you can get a grip on what places they cover and why they're important. And I'll stop there. Thank you for watching.